Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Check me out, y'all. This story is about two brothers, twin brothers, right? Uh, Ronnie and Donnie. Uh, they got locked up for attempted murder. But they got both of them got 8 years apiece. When they first got locked up, they had plenty of money to hold them over, right? But after a couple of years, like everybody else, that money started running out, and Donnie was the more focused one. You know what I'm saying? Both of them had the girlfriends to come to see him. They were faithful to him and all this and that. But like I said, Donnie was the more focused one. He got into school and was doing all the types of things that you need to do to try to bolster your resume before you get out. Uh, Ronnie ran around and did his thing. You know, he kicked it with a lot of the guys, different groups. He didn't care who he kicked it with. He just kicked it, and he smoked a lot of weed. Drank a lot of liquor, doing all those things like gambling and all of that old kind of stuff. Gambling is a big thing in here, right? So, like I say, after a couple of years, when the money started drying up, Ronnie he convinces his girl to start bringing in a pack for him, right? But he didn't have that plug on the town, so he had to go through one of the Crip dudes that he had gotten cool with to get the pack. But in exchange for that cooperation on getting that pack on the streets, you know what I'm saying? He had to give up, even though he had to pay for the pack, he still had to give up half of that pack to the Crip dude that he was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So he could even get it, right? So he would get it, his girl would bring it in, and then they had a mirror to bring it back. And then on top of that, once he paid the mirror, he only ended up with like almost about like 7 grams of the pack to himself, right? Now in prison, you make a lot of money when you're hustling in here off of dope because you're paying 3, 4, 5 times more than what it would cost on the street. So than what it would sell for on the streets. So anyway, after a while he got tired of that because he felt like, look, I'm spending all the money, I'm taking all the risks, but I'm benefiting the least out of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Him and the mule is making the same amount of money. The Crip dude is coming out on top because he's the one that had the connection on the streets and he's getting half of the pack and he's not paying a nickel for it. You feel what I'm saying? So Ronnie, he talks to his brother, Donnie. Now Donnie, like I said, he's totally changed the way he sees the world. He doesn't really want to be involved in any of this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But Ronnie is talking to him, trying to convince him, look, man, I make this amount of money just selling this right here. If you just help me out with the plug, you got a plug on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Because Donnie's girlfriend's brother get money. He out there getting money. So he wanted Donnie to talk to his gal to convince his gal to holler at her brother so that her brother would sell Ronnie some cocaine on the low low. You know what I'm saying? So he could break away from that, right? His girl was gonna bring it in, and he's gonna make sure that it gets back. He already has a move for that. So if he does it that way, now instead of him getting 7 grams, he was gonna end up with 21 grams and only give the mule 7 grams, right? But Donnie was against it because, like I said, let me add this point too. They were cellmates too, right? And Donnie really didn't like the fact that he was selling anything out of there because, the police is hot, they roaming, and if they get caught, you know what I'm saying, he wasn't going to say nothing on his brother, but he wasn't so sure that his brother would take the charge. So if that's the case, then both of them go to the whole pending investigation. Depending on what happens, they end up getting some whole time. They lose their visits. They lose all of the privileges that the institution gives them, right? So Donnie was a little bit upset about that. So he told him, no, I'm not getting involved in that. I don't want no parts of what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, right? Well, Ronnie didn't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? He's talking to his girl about it, and his girl was like, look, you know, we got to do something to put pressure on him. You know what I'm saying? To convince him that this is what needs to be done. Now, here's the thing. Donnie's girl was doing fine out there. Her family supports her. Plus, she had a job. You know what I mean? So she wasn't hurting for anything. Everything was going fine for her by as far as her life. You know what I mean? Except for her dude. Her dude was locked up. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, uh, Ronnie he's getting real creative, and he's trying to figure out a way to get his brother to agree to do what it is that he's wanting him to do. but he has no incentive to do it. So after about 2 or 3 months, they keep going back and forth, Ronnie, him and his girl trying to figure out what to do. And Ronnie's, excuse me, Ronnie's his girlfriend, her car breaks down. And she goes to get it fixed. You know what I'm saying? Something's wrong with the transmission. That transmission costs a lot of money to get fixed. But she had it. She got the car fixed. You know what I'm saying? And when she came to visit, and keep in mind, Ronnie and Donnie's girl, they drive to visit separate. They live on two different sides of town. They're cool, but they're not just close like that. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, when Ronnie girl gets to visit, she says, look, this transmission cost me such and such amount of money to get fixed. Why don't we do something to her car to force her to have to come out of her pocket? Because he said she's working. You know what I'm saying? I'm dealing with the money that you sending me, plus I'm working. So if something would have happened to her car, she might feel like, if the opportunity was presented to Nani, look, if he did this, you know what I'm saying, all she's got to do is holler at her brother. You feel what I'm saying? To get the pack, right? If she hollers at her brother and Donnie wants him to do that, then they'll do that, and then Donnie can help take care of the car, and she can still, do her thing out there, right? So Ronnie hit her back with his like, well, why wouldn't she just go to her brother and get the money? You feel me? But what they also knew was that Donnie's girl and her brother, they were cool, but she didn't believe in all that kind of stuff. She didn't like people that want to be selling drugs and out there and this and that, because she had already lost her boyfriend to the penitentiary. She didn't want to be involved, you know what I'm saying, when and if her brother goes down, because she knew that, you can't sell dope continuously and not get caught. She just didn't want any parts of that lifestyle, right? So at the end of the day, Ronnie, he's thinking, okay, let's try this. So she gets somebody, Ronnie's girl, she gets somebody to go by, and they were supposed to do something to mess up her transmission, put some salt or something like that in her gas tank, right? So they do this and all this and that, and they didn't really get it done put in there right. So the car starts to mess up, but she gets it to the mechanic, and mechanic fixes it and says something's wrong with your line, as far as the gas line, right? And they look at it, but these maintenance men, they try to pop it. These auto mechanics, they try to pop it on these females. So they tell her everything's gonna be fine, but they do notice that there's something in there. Somebody done put something in her gas tank, So they try it again. But this time, when they put something in the gas tank to mess it up, you know what I'm saying? Some sugar, salt, something like that, he said they put in there. They also flatten her tires. And now she's trying to figure out what is going on. So now she got to take this car back to the auto mechanic. She got to get some tires. And so this particular weekend, she missed visit. She didn't get to go to, she couldn't drive to visit, so she had to ask Ronnie's girl to let her ride up there to visit Donnie. And on the way, while they're driving up there, Ronnie's girl is working her. Because she's telling her all the problems she's having back to back, trying to figure out, not knowing that Ronnie's girl is the one behind getting somebody to go by there to mess up her car. So while they're riding up there and all of this and that, she's working and telling them, well, it's a way you can solve it. She said, well, I take Ronnie a pack up here, and he sends me X amount of money home, and that helps me out a whole lot. My car just got messed up not too long ago, and I had to come out of my pocket to pay for the transmission to get fixed. And if it wouldn't have been for Ronnie sending that money home, it would have been hard for me. I wouldn't be going up here in that. You know what I'm saying? He really takes care of me, trying to make her feel like Donnie doesn't take care of her, right? She's not slow like that, but she is sitting there thinking about, it would be nice if she could have just got the car fixed and wouldn't have to change up her life in any way, shape, or form, right? So when they get up there, and they get to the VG, Donnie's talking to his girl and telling her everything is going to be all right. Just, go ahead and get the car fixed. And if they got a missed visit, fine. And she didn't need to necessarily put that much money on the car, because when you come to visit, one of the big deals about coming to visit somebody in the penitentiary is that they get to eat some food that is a little different than the food on the compound, right? The chow hall food is terrible. That's just what it is. You feel what I'm saying? They have their moments, but for the majority of the meals, it's terrible. But when you come to the VG, you got stuff in, you got chicken, you got pizza, you got hamburgers, you got all kinds of desserts. You got chess pie, you got cheesecakes, you got all kind of puddings and all. You got potato chips, you got all kinds of sodas and all kind of Snapples and all this old kind of stuff. So it gives you a minute where you can release and be away from all of the stuff on the compound and enjoy a decent meal, even though it's still processing. You got to cook it in the microwave. And my mouth watering just thinking about that chicken that they have up there sometime. But anyway, so he's telling her all of these things where they can cut back because Donnie was good with that. He was focused and he didn't really want, the situation to be so bad that he would add to it. And his girl appreciated that. But at the same time, she does have a life outside of just coming to visit him. She has to go to work. She has to be able to get around town. She has to do a lot of other things. And the fact that her tires, two of her tires were flattened and the car's transmission is messing up, based where the fuel line is messing up, based on what Ronnie's girl had somebody to do to her car, she still has to get the car fixed. It's not just about coming to visit him. Her life is being disrupted. So after, half of the visit, her and Donna continue to be talking about this issue. Ronnie and them, they're not sitting too far away from them. So they can hear some of the conversation, but not all of it. So Ronnie, he's like, is everything okay? He's talking to his twin brother, while they're all up at it. And he's like, yeah, man, trying to figure out, man, what to do, about the car need to be getting fixed, right? And he was like, man, shoot, all you got to do, man, is tell her to holler at her brother and get a pack to my gal. My gal to bring the pack up here and I can take care of that. And then we can do that. You know what I'm saying? And Donnie was like, man, I don't really want to do that. I done told you that. I don't really want to go down that road. He said, well, all right, then. I'm just trying to help out, bro. He's trying to act all, helpful and all this and that, right? So Donnie's girl, she's sitting there listening to it. And at this point, she's like, I got to do something. I can't continue to do this. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, she doesn't have the money. It's going to take her at least a month to get the money and continue to do the other things in her life that she's been doing, paying bills. She got to pay her own bills. She don't live at home. You feel what I'm saying? So she got to pay her the rent at the apartment that she's living in, the lights, the gas, and all of that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All the kind of things that come with living life out there. You know what I'm saying? And food and stuff like that. So before the visit ends, Donnie went on and tell us, look, what would it take for him to, how much would he charge if I asked him to do that? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want anything for free. And Donnie, Donnie's girlfriend told him, said, look, I could ask him. I don't want to. I could ask him. And whatever it would be, it wouldn't be much. But let them pay for it. Let them pay for it. And he leans over and he asks Ronnie, he said, if I did this, you going to pay for it? Ronnie's all in for it. That's the plot anyway. He told him that earlier. I'll pay for it. And then I'll break you off. So they sat there now. All four of them are sitting there discussing back and forth the details of this arrangement that they're about to make. So what happens is this. They agree to do it. Ronnie, is going to pay for the pack. 7 grams of it is going to go to the brewer to get it bought in, right? So that's leaving 21 grams. So what Ronnie proposes is that, look, I'll sell the 7 grams for you, get you the bread, shoot that back out. I keep 14 for myself because I got to pay for it and I got to get my money back, which will be easy to do with 14 grams. He's going to make way more than he really is going to be putting into this. You know what I'm saying? So they all agree on that and whatnot. So the next weekend, that week, during the week, Donnie's girl goes to her brother and asks her brother about the business. He said, yeah, no problem. He's really, more than willing to help, especially because he's going to make a little bit of money, not a lot, because he's giving it to him for the low. But, he really likes, his sister's boyfriend is locked up. You know what I'm saying? He thinks dude is a stand-up dude. So he's like, yeah, he breaks him off. He gives it to Ronnie's girl. She pays for it. She takes care of the business. And everything is set for when they go back up the next weekend. So the weekend comes up and then they're on their way up there because, again, Donnie's girl, her car's still messed up, right? They haven't been able to get it fixed yet. Plus, she couldn't pay for it anyway. So it's still at the shop. So on their way up, Ronnie's girl is telling her how smooth this is going to be and how they can continue to do this and make this money, and then her life will be a lot different, blah, blah, blah. Just telling her all of the things that she'll be able to do with all of the money that she's about to make if they continue to do this, because they don't want to just do this for one time. So Donnie's girl is really not listening to all of this old kind of stuff. She just wants to get her car fixed and get it paid for so that she can be done with this. And then they can go back to how they've been living. You know what I'm saying? Because they're planning for the future. They get up there, everything goes smooth. Everything works out according to plan. The money is spent. The money is made, is sent out. Everybody's happy. The car gets fixed. Everything is smooth. But what happened is this. Donnie, he's kicking it around on the compound a little bit, because he plays basketball and he lifts weights. Other than that, he's into his books, what he's studying. He's enrolled in a college class in the prison. So while he's out and about chilling and kicking it with some of the guys, some of these guys are gang members that might be, working out under the weight pile with him, right? And he hears about, this how a lot of dudes is using people, getting people to bring in packs by making their life a little bit more difficult, right? I'm going to tell you something. For those of you that don't know, people in the penitentiary sitting around got plenty of time to try to plot and figure out a way to manipulate people on the streets into doing things for them, doing things that they normally wouldn't do. You feel what I'm saying? So he's listening. Now, he didn't hear anything about no car being messed up, but he's listening, and something in his head went off. He's like, man, I wonder. Because my girl's car wasn't having no problems, no nothing. And she said the mechanic said something had been put in her gas tank. So he's thinking and he's wondering. And then he's like, what is up with the tires being flattened? It's like doing too much. You feel what I'm saying? So he talks to his girl about it. He tells her what he heard, and then she was like, well, if it was going on, we're not going to worry about it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not doing that anymore because we straight now, right? And he was like, yeah, we good. But that night in the cell, Ronnie and Donnie, they're talking, and Ronnie's like thinking that everything is going to go down again. And he's telling them, look, can we do this and do that, blah, blah, blah. We made all this money. Let's keep it thing rolling like that, right? So Donnie tells him, no, I'm done. It was a one-time thing. Now, Ronnie's getting upset. He's getting upset. So Donnie, he's like, look, he went the next day when he called his girl, he said, is there any way that you can park your car somewhere else? So she was like, yeah, I can park it over at my mom's. Her mom lived a little bit further down the road. And Ronnie's girl don't know anything about where her mom lives. So she parks the car further down the road at her mom's house. And then he tells her to start paying attention to if you see anybody different in the neighborhood, in the new car. Because they lived in the suburban area, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't high suburban, you feel me? It was like lower middle class suburban, you feel what I'm saying? But they recognized different cars in the area, you know what I mean? So she started paying a little bit more attention, and she saw some guys that she thought she had seen in the neighborhood a few months ago around the time that her car, got messed up. So she tells her boyfriend, yeah, I think I've seen some people over here that they look out of place. So now Donnie's convinced that something happened, that his own brother had his girlfriend's car messed up so that they would be put in a position where they would need him. So he's talking to Ronnie about it. He brings it up. He said, man, bro, just tell me what's really going on, man, because, I think you might have tried something, man, and put me in a position where I needed to do that, to get that bread. And Ronnie went on and told, he said, man, yeah, man, look, because you playing. He said, all you have to do is just go on and holler at him so we can do this. And if you don't want to do it, just have her holler at her brother so that I can have my own route, so I can do my own thing. And he said, if I do this, you moving out. We're not going to be settlers. And I don't want none of your money. So Ronnie gets a little bit upset because they're twins. And he don't like not being around his brother. He loves his brother. But at the same time, Ronnie's shysty. Donnie trying to do better with his life. So he look for the money. He gets upset about it, but he moves out. And Donnie does what he said he's going to do. He hollered at his girl. His girl hollered at her brother, and her brother is doing business with Ronnie and his girl. And they've been getting their money. But like all things criminal, he got popped. And when he got popped, he didn't just get popped selling dope. He got popped with the pack. They popped him in the penitentiary with 14 grams of cocaine. That's how much he had left on him when they got him. Oh, yeah, you know what they did. Took him to the streets. They charged him. He ended up having to plead out. Got another 6 years. I was on the low end, y'all. Got another 6 years. And when you catch another case in the penitentiary, I know back in the day, they used to run it concurrent. And if y'all don't know what concurrent means if you already got 8, like Ronnie did, and they gave him 6, they run the 6 in with the 8, and while the 8 is running, the 6 is running as well. But that ain't how they did it. They ran the 8 and the 6 consecutive. What that means is this. He got the 8. When he finished the 8, he started on the 6. Got to finish the whole 8 and then start on the 6 unless he makes parole on the 8. They parole him to the 6. So now the possibility is that Ronnie is going to end up doing a total of 14 years, and his brother Donnie, his twin, is going to be gone home and out of the penitentiary. Oh yeah, they suspended his visits too. So now he ain't got no route, no nothing. When I say suspended his visits, not just that his girl can't come, nobody can come. He can't go to visit. That's what happened to you when you get bumped down on in here. Something happened when the feds come up at you. So I wanted you to know this story because of this. See, a lot of times, y'all out there, you don't understand how a lot of people in the penitentiary, like I say, got a lot of time sitting around plotting, planning, and strategizing, trying to come up with ways to convince you to do things. Don't get me twisted. Don't get me wrong. I've done a lot of dirt. I've done a lot of dirt. A lot of dirt in here. Done a lot of things, make a lot of money because I felt like that's what I needed to do. That's what I felt like I needed to do. But at the same time, what you should understand is simply this. At some point, we all have to man up or woman up in life. I know life is hard, especially in the penitentiary. I'm telling you now, if you ain't been here, I know it's hard. But you have to decide, am I going to continue to do the things that put me in a position to where I'm going to be taken away from mine, continue to cause harm to mine? You understand what I'm saying? Or am I going to figure out a way that I could walk this line, do better by myself and mine, and come up that way? That's what we got to figure out. How much longer are we going to continue to participate in the genocide of our own people? That's what we got to figure out, people. And this story is an example of how when we get caught up and tossed in the sauce and start to think about how can we do something, we'll get to the point where we'll start to manipulate and use our own people. That's what we have to quit doing. We think that it's cool because we end up getting money. You feel what I'm saying? The ends don't justify the means, y'all. It no. It don't work. Just wanted to drop that on y'all real quick. I know that's one of those stories you'd be like, let me think about that. That's crazy. Would I fall for that? Would I do that? I don't know. You tell me. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this episode, y'all. Feel me? Now look, before I go, y'all check out my book. You hit the link, you know what I'm saying, in the description box where you can go to get the book, whatever, it ain't but $20. And don't forget that in a few months, man, I got an animated movie coming in about the book Rivals. It's going to be fire, y'all. I'm telling you, I'm hearing some things from the people that are helping me put it together. And it's coming together real nice. I got to see the characters and what they're going to look like. Look here, y'all. This is going to be something. We're making history, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. And I say peace, y'all.